Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Solve the SKOL in person. We got 3 guys here at the desk, nobody online today. Hopefully we can get everyone back again next week, or maybe if we do something Sunday. But Sunday is New Year's Eve after all, so depends on the availability of everybody. But we got Matt, we got Big Lou, and we got me here. And today we're going to be talking about the Vikings' brutal loss against the Lions, but more so the Vikings' upcoming game against their biggest rivals, the Green Bay Packers. So the Vikings just dropped a game on Sunday to the Detroit Lions. Final score was 30-12. Me, Matt, and Sam O talked on the post game about it. And yeah, so where do you guys think we should start?
I'm gonna make one quick note. As you guys probably clicked on and see the thumbnail, we are aware Jair Alexander has been suspended for this game, and Jordan Addison is day to day. So both of the guys you just saw on the thumbnail might not even be playing in this game.
It's still a very good thumbnail, though, and it is comical.
We were waiting for this day. So, but yeah, obviously Vikings have a decision to make at quarterback. Kevin O'Connell yesterday seemed he didn't want to lean towards Nick Mullins, kind of threw him under the bus just a tad about critical turnovers. Vikings still in the thick of a playoff race. I think if the best chance of winning, you got to go Nick Mullins. I understand the turnovers, but it's got to be a short leash in that scenario. If it's a bad critical turnover that alters the game, you got to get him out of there. But the best chance for the Vikings to win is with Nick Mullins under center. So I would think that's who the Vikings are going to go with Sunday.
I agree with you there that Nick Mullins will be the starter, but I feel like it'll be ingrained into his brain by the coaches that if he messes up, like throws couple interceptions, does a couple turnovers, bad mistakes, he will be replaced.
Sorry, you can go.
And it's just that's got to be the way because it's a critical game for the Vikings if they want to make the playoffs because this is a must-win if they truly indeed need to make the playoffs or want to make the playoffs. Because if they lose this, I believe they drop to a less than 2% chance of actually making the playoffs. So they need to have what's best in there, and I feel like this week over practice will be a defined factor in that. Because if Mullins is not playing good, then Hall will be playing instead of him.
When you ingrain, though, if you turn the ball over, you're going to be benched. You have a quarterback that's now kind of playing scared. He doesn't want to take that risk into, hey, I can make this throw, but if it doesn't go my way, I can end up on the bench. So you want to play with that happy medium almost too, because you want to let him sling it, but at the same time, you do need to tell him you can't turn the ball over. You're throwing 6 interceptions in your 2 starts.
Yep, I think it'll kind of be like something like if you throw like 2 or 3, then you're going to be out of there. But we still want you to be able to sling the ball and take some risks in that aspect. But I think as long as he's throwing touchdowns with the interceptions, they're kind of cancel each other out in that aspect. But he's got to be a little more cautious when throwing the ball, especially to the other team.
So what I would do and what the team will do isn't necessarily the same. What I would do is start Jaron Hall. You got nothing to lose anymore. We talked about this on Sunday. Everyone's expecting him to be bad. He's a 5th-round pick. He's a rookie. The bar for him is right here. Whereas for Mullins, when he first came in, the bar was here, and now he's down here, where everyone's expecting Jaron Hall to be here. So to me, the only place he can go is up. If he's bad, who cares? Because you got to see a look at your probably not franchise quarterback, but a young quarterback on your roster. And the Vikings, as we've seen, have been terrible at developing quarterbacks. But they also haven't had any quarterbacks to develop other than, Christian Ponder, who was good for a year, and then we saw how that went. Teddy Bridgewater, who was, I would say, good. He was my first favorite player ever on the Vikings until his injury in that situation that changed his whole career. And then Kellen Mond, who just turned out to be a bust, whether that's on him, whether that's on coaches failing to develop him, whether it's on Mike Zimmer for neglecting him in every way, shape, and form. We haven't seen quarterbacks. They haven't even tried over the past how many years now. So I don't see any reason why not to. But I don't think they're going to commit to Nick Mullins either, because I was listening to the press conference yesterday from Kevin O'Connell, and he's been around here for 2 years now, and it's fair to kind of maybe every person has this, but for sure with Kevin O'Connell, he has patterns. He works in patterns. Like when he's asked a question, I already know what he's going to say before he says it because he's pretty predictable, we'll say. So he was asked yesterday about the quarterback situation. Here's what he said. We've had some turnovers. There's no doubt about it. And the interceptions have been the story for much of the year since we lost Kirk at the position. We're trying to work through what we feel gives us the best chance to still be explosive, like we were moving the football the other day against the Lions, but we've got to find a way to possess the football and not set our team back. With what I've seen, Nick Mullins has been setting the team back. Interceptions in key spots. Again, he had 4 of them this week. He had 2 of them last week as well. He had it to end the game, which was a terrible throw. Apparently, he said the ball came out of his hand weird.
I can probably say it did because that had no velocity.
Which is true, but I mean, either way, it's his fault. Whether it was a bad throw or came out of his hand weird doesn't really matter that much. But we've seen Kevin, he likes to be persistent. He likes to, how do I say it? He's stubborn. And when I saw him talk about quarterbacks yesterday, but he wasn't willing to commit to Nick Mullins, that made me think maybe they are leaning with Jaron Hall. We've seen him in the past. He likes to be transparent and he likes to make his decisions, but when he's not willing to commit to Mullins, I think that means there's definitely skepticism there. And whether it's him that's ready to move on or whether it's ownership that's ready to move on or Kwesi and the rest of the front office that's ready to move on, I guess I don't know. But obviously, unsurprisingly, there's going to be butting heads on that coaching staff and the front office and whatnot. And yeah, the fact that they were unable to come to a consensus and he wasn't able to announce a quarterback, I think means the odds of Mullins being the starter are significantly less now.
I agree with you there, but at the same time, I think the Vikings have to at least give Mullins the chance to prove himself for the first half. As much as it pains me, and it may not be the right decision, I think their best chance will be with Mullins. But you never know because we don't see Jaron Hall practice either. So that really could be the deciding factor. If he's absolutely lighting it off this week in practice, then he will probably start. But if he's kind of on the same level as Nick Mullins there, I believe they're going to have to go with Mullins.
So with that said, I think we can kind of transition into looking at other things, namely injuries on this team. Injuries have been plaguing the team all year, but we did really, really see it on Sunday. Big lose boy here, TJ Hawk, out for the season with a torn ACL and MCL. Will he be back for the start of next year? We'll just have to see. DJ Wanham is out for season with a torn quad. Jordan Addison is currently listed as day-to-day. I believe it was his ankle, if I remember right.
This is a high ankle sprain.
Okay.
Yes.
So he's day-to-day. We'll just have to see if he plays Sunday or not. And there's one more that I'm missing. Mekhi Blackman. He left the game with an injury too. Kevin said he was day-to-day yesterday. Something also interesting, this is kind of unrelated to injuries. Caleb Evans, he got benched in the game. He was taken out of the game. Then they put in, that was why Jalen Williams, the practice squad guy, was on the field. Kevin was asked after the game, why wasn't Caleb Evans in there? And he said he was removed from the game. He didn't say he was hurt or nothing. So pretty much he was benched, which is really interesting. Caleb has been having a tough past few games, but I mean, he's not going to get better if he's on the sideline. At least not in my opinion. He's not. He played well to start the year, but sure he's had struggles lately. But if he's just sitting there watching, he's not going to be able to improve on the mistakes he's been making. So that's kind of that. But yeah, I mean, injuries, obviously, TJ Hawk, it's unfortunate that he got hurt. Jordan Addison, unfortunate that he also was hurt. But I mean, part of this team's job is to face it is to go against adversity. It's what they've been doing all year. So we'll just have to see if they can do it again. Packers have adversity. Like we just said, Jair Alexander out for this game. So I just pulled up a depth chart for the Packers. We were wondering before we started, what corners do they even have? So they have Jair. They have Eric Stokes, I forgot about him.
He's good.
He was hurt, I think, a lot of the year. So I think he must be coming back for this game or recently. Keyshawn Nixon, their punt returner, is also a corner. Oh, Carrington Valentine, that's the guy I'm thinking of. And Corey Ballantyne, I see them on the field, and I don't know anything about Robert Rochelle.
Well, they're gonna
I don't know
have
if I've ever
to,
seen
they're going to have to step up now, especially that corner position. But they have done that a lot of the year. Jair Alexander's been in and out of the lineup with an injury. So, again, it's same with the Vikings. We've seen it multiple times. Jefferson goes down. Brandon Powell steps up. So Brandon Powell will most likely have to step up again at the tight end position. It's got to be a group effort with Johnny Munt and Josh Oliver. Maybe they throw a little Nick Muse in there so Joel can have a headache. But then again, we said it on Sunday. I'm not questioning this team's heart and their resiliency. They're going to fight day in and day out. They know what's at stake, and they're going to give it their all. So I'm not worried about the effort given because I know they're going to play their butt off.
Yes. So this is something we talked about Sunday after the game, and I think no matter who their quarterback is, there's one thing they need to do that they didn't do Sunday, and that's run the ball. They ran the ball 11 times on Sunday. Ty Chandler had 8 carries. Mullins, scrambled for 1 yard. Alexander Madison had 2 carries for -1. No matter who it is, they have to run the ball. And
they got down fairly early. Well, they tied it. It was tied at 7. Then I think it was 17-7. And then they kind of just abandoned the run from there.
That's probably what that could have prevented, I bet, some of the interceptions. Well, not even probably. It would have. Is if they would have had a more balanced attack. But they didn't. They were completely one-dimensional offense. So the Lions knew what was coming every play pretty much. So that's that. I just got the notification from CBS that Packers have suspended Jair.
Yeah, I did too. Oh, one more thing, Joel. Looking at predictions, one of mine is incorrect because TJ Hawkins.
I was going to say the
never
TJ.
got
I just
1,000
noticed
yards.
that. I just thought about that. We'll get to that in a minute here. So with that said, I don't really have any stats, I guess, about the Packers. The Vikings and Packers are literally in like the same boat right now. They're both 7-8. They're both just out of the wild card, and a loss all but eliminates you pretty much. I think for either team, it's a loss, and either a Seahawks or Rams win would kick you out. So the Vikings or Packers, one of these teams is going to be eliminated by their biggest rival this week. So that'll be pretty entertaining. This is what the NFL wants to happen, is something like this, and that's what they're going to get. Big rivals, one's about to knock the other out.
What week was it again they played? I have the game.
It was 8. It was 8.
Yeah, okay, week 8.
I think it was 8.
Because that was the game Kirk Cousins went out with the Achilles. But yeah, Jordan Love didn't look too great in this game. But ever since this game, and he's progressed throughout the year, he's looked very good. He's comfortable against man coverage. So it comes down to Brian Flores just scheming it up, not blitzing too much. Maybe you live by the blitz, die by the blitz, but back off just a bit. Throw him some coverages. Try to get in his head, mix him up because he's a young quarterback in this league. He's going to make mistakes, and this is how the offense can get momentum going by the turnover in short fields.
Yeah, I think they also got to keep a little bit of pressure on him though by sending the blitz because of the inexperience that he may not be able to handle that blitz as much as some of the veteran quarterbacks.
Burning up guys, you mix it up in the back end with zone and man, but then just making sure that the check down is covered up because Aaron Jones can feast off of that. So can A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
Okay, I just saw this. You talked about turnovers a little bit, but this also does loop a little back to the quarterback decision. This is why I think they'll go Jaren Hall. In his career with the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, when the Vikings have a turnover differential of 0 or in the pluses, they're 17-0 when it's -1 or worse. So when they lose the turnover differential, they are 3-12. I think that's what tells you what you need to know right there. So that's that. And yeah, so where do we want to take it from here?
Well, is there anything else we really need to cover about the preview of the game? We kind of covered most of it.
Yeah, so it'll be a good game Sunday night. Like we said, maybe there will be something Sunday night after the game. Maybe not. Depends who's around and who's not, because it is New Year's Eve. We'll just have to see.
Well, we could do a post-game show Monday, too. Otherwise.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Ringing the new year with Chris Collinsworth. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Should we move on to picks and predictions then?
Sure. So we'll go. There it is. Folks, here is the spreadsheet. We've got some things that have come off. Some things are still on. Some things will be coming off in a couple weeks. In fact, a lot will be coming off in a couple weeks.
A lot of red, as you're going to notice in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. So, let me get over. All right, we'll go through what's come off the board. We kind of looked at this, but we'll do it again anyway because this is the more in-depth one. I said JJ, Jordan, and TJ would all have at least 50 yards against Detroit. I also said Jordan would have a touchdown, and then he got hurt. He only had he had one catch for 2 yards for a lot of the game. So I don't know if that's what he finished with or what. I also said Daniil would have at least a sack and a half in each of the remaining 3 games, and he didn't. I don't think he had any on Sunday.
No, we didn't.
I didn't really notice him at all. You know who we did notice? Patrick Jones. He had a heck of a game. So, good for him. The only real knock was the roughing the passer, but take what you want from that because was it really a penalty? I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't change the call. Sam Z, I would have him read it if he was here, but he's not. He said Vikings quarterbacks would throw at least 10 touchdowns, at least 10 interceptions for the rest of the regular season. He made that in week 9, and they've thrown, I think, 11 now.
They've thrown their 2 games, they've had 4 plus interceptions, or just 4.
Yeah, because it was Chicago in this one.
Yep.
Because, Chicago 4, this one 4, and then he had 2 against Cincy. So that's 10 alone there, plus if there were any more interceptions in not those 3 games. He said Vikings offense would have at least 2 turnovers against the Lions. They did in the first half alone. He also said Darnell Washington of the Steelers would have at least 3 games with 70 receiving yards. I don't know if he's even had 70 receiving yards on the whole season. He's had no play. Isn't he the guy from?
He was the Georgia type.
Georgia, yeah. Isn't he huge?
Yeah, he's 6'7", 270, something crazy like that.
So that was what he said. We got Big Lou. Oh, I just realized I have to move it on here too, and not just my own. Big Lou, you can read your stuff. You had lots of red. Sorry.
Yeah, I said Justin Jefferson will have at least 1,000 yards by the end of his 8th start. Didn't happen. Vikings defense will allow 6 or less touchdowns by the end of the season. Well, that was unfortunate. Vikings will win 5 or more games, finish with 10 or more wins. Of course not. Kirk Cousins will be in the top 15 for passing touchdowns to the end of the regular season. He's close. He just skirted out of 15th. He's at 16th. And the Vikings will have less than 8 turnovers. Well, they had half of that in 1 game, so what do you expect? And then you guys were all getting mad at me that the TJ Hawkinson 1,000+ receiving yards was a check down, and look at that, red.
You can't predict injuries though, so
6 in 1 week. That's rough.
Didn't you have 7?
4, 5, 7. You
had 7
because
you
you
had 6 on top.
team, and technically the Texans can't finish worse than a bottom 5 team now.
Yeah, they are now mathematically cannot be a top bottom 5 team anymore.
So
yeah.
So
we have to add now. We have to add a red one then, or we have to add one more wrong.
I added the two.
Unless you did.
So yeah, 0 for 7.
Did you change the numbers on the end?
I'll change the numbers.
Okay, cool.
11 for 36 now. Terrible stat line.
Matt is next. We'll scroll over to him.
When I was a guest on this show in this room, I said the Lions would win the NFC North. That did in fact happen. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 12 catches for over 100. He had 106 receiving yards versus Minnesota on Sunday. Nick Mullins will not have a turnover versus Detroit. I think he had 8 turnover-worthy plays, but with 4 interceptions. And I said Minnesota would lose the Quick Lane Bowl versus Bowling Green. Cole Kramer went 8, had 8 completions for 24 yards and 2 touchdowns. But yeah, Darius Taylor did go off for over 200 rushing yards. And we got a revenge on Bowling Green. So I'd like to say that I'm the reason the Gophers won. Reverse psychology.
I would have rather the Gophers lost, honestly, because I'm done with PJ Fleck. But that's a topic for a different show.
Sam
Gophers.
O predicted that the Vikings would score 25 plus points versus Detroit, and bad beat. They only scored 24. Sam Laporta having 50 plus receiving yards and a touchdown versus Minnesota. He only had 3 catches for 18 yards. So none of those hit. The standings are almost up to date, if not.
I think they are. Did you just fix the
Yes. Yep.
Okay, then they are.
That's my percentage.
And still a long way to go. Sam O's our Mickey Mouse leader up and now. We have determined that 25 is the minimum number for
Here we go.
predictions.
Boom.
Did you put an asterisk?
Is it
on it?
showing
Sam Z has a higher percentage than Sam O.
He does for now.
40.91.
So yeah, Sam Z's our real leader. And then it goes Joel, me, and then Big Lou.
I don't know. I think Sam's got better predictions than I do.
Me and Big Lou were tied until we.
Sam Z he's gonna have a lot red at the end of the season.
Oh,
if you look at what he's
at
got on
the
his-
amount of red I'm gonna have.
Yeah, a lot of Z's are gonna be wrong. But
Oh, I think this one's red too. I don't think 3 NFC North can make the playoffs.
no, well, they're not. Technically, none of them are mathematical limit. I looked yesterday to
point.
see if I could look at it. The Lions or the Bears are actually still.
Mathematically,
They're
yeah.
possible. There's only 4 teams from each conference that have been eliminated completely. Also, I have a proposal. I talked to him about this on Christmas Eve after we were done recording. We should make seasons of like predictions. So like this is season 1.
Oh yeah.
Or else the numbers are going to get too high. So
yeah,
I think
then you got you can have your franchise.
So yeah, I vote.
Predictions.
So we'll run it in the group chat by the rest of the people. But I vote like the Wednesday after the Super Bowl is like that's like the end of season. Anything that's come off the board is off the board, and then whatever numbers are going to be the final numbers for the year. Everything that's still on the board stays on the board. It just counts for next year or future years. Then
we should do that with game picks too.
well, yeah. Well, that kind of has to happen
It's
anyway.
really easier.
Yeah.
So
to do that.
that's what I think. Wednesday after the Super Bowl is everything that's still on the board then counts for the next season and so forth. So, or else the numbers are just going to get way too high.
Let's see what new predictions we have that will most likely end up being red.
So let's do that here. I'll start with me. We'll work our way around. My first prediction, I didn't name a player, but I said Vikings quarterbacks would have at least 3 turnovers against the Packers. If it's Mullins, that's definitely going to be green. If it's Jaron Hall, we'll just have to see. Sam has not put his in yet. He will get there eventually.
He's saving lives.
Do we know if he's working or not? I would assume he is, but we don't know. He's a what exactly does he do?
He's a nurse for like the.
I was gonna say I know he's at the hospital.
Yeah, for essential care there. I think he deals with like stroke patients and like stuff like that. I think it's like the neuro something or other, but I don't remember the exact name of it.
Let's give up a hand for Sam Z, helping people.
And I think Sam O he's working.
He's also working. What does he do? Do you know what he does?
To be honest, I don't. I know he's told me, but I don't remember.
That's
off the top
okay.
of my head. But
Big
All right.
Lou redemption this week.
oh yeah,
We'll see
right.
about that.
Let's see. Second here. So I said the Vikings quarterbacks will have a 2-to-1 or better touchdown to interceptional ratio for the rest of the season, playoffs included.
Very fair of you to put playoffs. I don't think we'll make it.
I don't either, but I want to include it in case we somehow get there.
There.
So
All right. So now let me scroll on over here. Matt is up next.
All right. Earlier in the year, I thought Greg Joseph would be replaced, and he's actually done fairly decent, but I think Greg Joseph will make at least 2 field goals over 35 yards versus Green Bay on Sunday Night Football.
He should. Kind of what he's paid to do.
That's the goal.
I think we should save Sam's for the end. Sam O's.
Sure.
All for
We have
the
looked
end.
at it and they're funny, so we're
Yes.
gonna leave him till the end.
You want to just Matt? You want to rattle off another one?
All right. My second prediction, Dak Prescott will throw over 300 passing yards versus Detroit. Nick Mullins obviously threw for 411 versus Detroit. Detroit's defense isn't that great. I don't care what Sam Z said. He said Detroit had one of the best defenses in the league, which had a great reaction.
Statistically, they don't.
But yeah, I think Dak Prescott will have another good game and will throw for over 300 yards. Not saying it'll lead to a win, but I think him and CeeDee Lamb will have a nice day.
I'm gonna pull up the box score of the Cowboys game. See what he threw for last week. The Cowboys lost 22-20 to the Miami Dolphins. It was a good game. Jason Sanders cooked. He went 20 for 32, 253, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had a passer rating of 107.9. So didn't hit 300, but we'll just have to see what he can do against that Lions defense. All right, we'll head on over here. We'll go with Big Lou next, and we'll keep kind of snaking around.
All right. So I said the Vikings will have at least one trick play for the rest of the season, playoffs included. And what I mean by trick play is like a fake punt, fake field goal, something like they did versus the Lions game where they did like that kind of double reverse and then a pitch back to Mullins and then a pass, something like this. Doesn't have to be successful. They're going to run one.
Yeah, I think we can pretty safely together figure out what trick play means.
Yes.
So that'll be just fine. I am up next over here. Let me scroll on over. My second prediction is that Justin Jefferson will score exactly 3 touchdowns in these last 2 games. He had one this week. TJ Hawk, who is typically a red zone target, is going to be out for the rest of the season. Jordan Addison might not be playing this week, and he's the deep ball burner. So who are they going to throw to other than Justin Jefferson? I guess KJ Osborne, Josh
Brandon
Oliver.
Powell.
Yeah, Brandon Powell,
Johnny
Jalen Naylor.
So,
But
Hey,
either way,
Kai Chandler could get a couple receiving touchdowns.
Kene Wongwu,
definitely will not be Kene.
Madison.
But I think, I
don't think Madison will score for the rest of the season.
Lucky Jackson, maybe.
So yeah, Justin Jefferson, there you go. He'll score exactly 3 in the last 2 games. They're going to need him, and he'll do it.
The last prediction, Joel.
My final prediction is that the Kansas City Chiefs will not be reaching the AFC Championship game this year. I don't know how many years in a row they've made it.
I think they've won 5 straight.
Well, they won't be this year. I was watching, but not super closely, the Chiefs game on Monday. They are a dysfunctional team right now. Their locker room is pent up, and you can tell on the sidelines they've had it. And we saw Travis Kelce
throw a temper tantrum.
Yeah, he kind of lost it on the sideline. Patrick Mahomes was kind of losing it too. The Chiefs are falling apart. I'm not saying that like their dynasty run is over, but they need help right now.
This is just good publicity for the Netflix show that they're going to announce later after they win back-to-back Super Bowls. Netflix was following the Chiefs around all year because unnamed singer was with.
So, yeah. So
it's not unnamed singer's fault. I'm blaming more on Matt Nagy.
I think, who do we think is going to make the Super Bowl in the AFC? The Dolphins are like the obvious.
I think the Ravens obviously just made the best statement as to why they should be the favorites.
Okay, so what was up with the Bills on Saturday? I was not watching that game, but I saw they only won like just barely over the Chargers.
Cameron Dicker is a game changer.
He put up 21 points for me in one of my leagues.
He can hit from anywhere on the field, so that's a great weapon to have, just like you said with Jason Sanders, kicking multiple 50-yarders.
So not Greg Joseph is what I'm hearing.
Most part.
Yeah.
Buffalo just kind of – they came out strong, teetered, and then obviously that last drive Josh Allen cooked, and they got a field goal.
Nice.
All right. For my final prediction, I don't think it'll happen, but I hope it will. Vikings will end the season 9-8. They will end the season above 500.
If we had Mike Tomlin, I think that would happen, given his success of staying above 500 for a season record.
I mean, they'll probably win. Well, I can't even say they'll probably win this week's game. Honestly, this week's game feels like a coin toss. It could go either way. But next week, no.
even watching Detroit, I mean, we can stay competitive. Not saying we're going to win. This is a team that's going to stay competitive.
The Vikings
they're gonna
could win
make
if
it a
they're.
game.
The Vikings can beat the Lions if they aren't dumb, but they were being dumb on Sunday.
The Vikings do this thing where they just keep every game within one score. I don't know what it is. They can't blow teams out, but they will. But
They can get blown out too.
oh well, last year they've been blown out, and they've been blown out this year.
The Vikings,
No,
not
no,
really.
they've had. I think they've had because the only other game that wasn't one score was the Packers game where they beat them by 14.
Yeah,
Every other game's been one
so
score.
yeah. The Vikings do a good thing of keeping it close. So
I mean,
that's why.
why do you think the colors are purple? Because they're choking so much they can't breathe and they're turning purple.
That is very true.
I can't breathe when I watch this team. Sometimes they make me die inside a little bit.
I wonder how Jackie, the big Vikings fan from last year.
Oh, I forgot about
I
her.
don't hear about her anymore. Anywho, this last prediction probably won't happen, but for the sake of argument, Jordan Love's going to throw 2 interceptions against Minnesota. I made a prediction about Jordan Love throwing an interception, and then he probably had the best game of his young NFL career as a starter. So hopefully, given recent success in predictions, this comes true, and Brian Flores does mix things up in the back end. Caleb Evans gets out of his rut and makes some plays.
Did he throw any picks last week? They played the
No.
Panthers. Joe Barry almost kind of blew that game.
Joel, yeah, and that's another thing too that we didn't talk about. I mean, Carolina had their best offensive game all year. Bryce Young played his best. He had all season over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't think it matters which Viking quarterback. They can come out and have success, but it's just a matter of having the right game plan, and especially not having Jair out there. You can expose that secondary.
I saw that.
Especially with Jefferson.
Yes. Jefferson is going to command double teams no matter what. So
I saw
someone
that-
else has to step up as well.
I saw that former Vikings legend Emir Smith-Marset had like a 20-yard rushing touchdown
Yes, he did.
for the Panthers this week.
That was.
So
Let's get to the main event.
Let's get to the interesting one.
You're
to
lucky
say the
he's
least.
not on.
somebody
because
is angry and they aren't even on today's show. It is Sam O.
We can feel the anger.
We'll go one by one to make
No,
it
no,
even
let's
better.
Just go through
Yeah,
all of them?
Yeah.
Just all of them.
All right. Who wants
Big
it?
Blue?
Rip off the band.
Blue, do it.
Big Blue?
I got it. Boom.
Jared Hall will not start versus Green Bay. Nick Mullins will throw for 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns and 1 or less interceptions. That second part won't happen. Jared Hall will not play unless the Vikings clinch a playoff spot or are eliminated. Not a prediction. Jared Hall is not better than Mullins.
As soon as if they announce Jaron Hall's a starter, we can mark all 3 of them red right now. I love
This is
because the first one is obviously
this is-
wrong. The second
well-
one's wrong, so it wouldn't be Mullins unless Jaron
Hold
Hall
on,
got hurt
hold
or
on,
benched or
hold on.
something.
It could happen if he was benched. I wouldn't
I
rule
was
it
gonna
out.
say that one.
But then 3 of them are red. But yes.
Well, yeah.
And again, the second one wouldn't be likely, but it is the Packers defense, and we saw what Bryce Young was able to do. Who knows what Nick Mullins could do in a half with confidence.
The only thing, the first and second item of that parlay definitely could be right, but the third one or less interception, ooh, that,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get on board with that one. So that's that. Again, over here, you can see those are our standings. Sam Z is in the lead, followed by Sam O, who's under the sample size. Will he? Oh, no. I was going to say, will he even get to 25 by the time we start the numbers over? But he definitely will, because I think
After
just
this,
about everything on here is going to come off. A lot of these are going to come off before the Super Bowl, so
49ers, Eagles not making it past. Yeah.
a lot of these will come off. Everything up until he says Kirk Cousins will be the quarterback in 2024, that'll be after the Super Bowl, but everything else above that will come off. So, and that's our standings. We'll head over to game picks. That is our game picks, folks. This is what happened last week. Me and Sam Z, I think, tied, if I remember right.
Me and Sam O tied with 8. We had 8 wrong.
I think I had 10. I had 10 with somebody. Maybe it was with Big Lou.
I only had 9. It must have been Sam.
Okay, then I must have been with Sam.
Yes, it was with Sam.
Okay. I'm going to say, me and, because of the Baltimore game. Me and Sam Z both had 10. Big Lou had 9.
Yep.
Matt had 8, and you said Sam O had 8 as
Yep.
well. So we'll go up here quick and take a look at our predictions. We're getting close to the end of the season now as we take a peekaroo at this. Sam Z is still in the lead at 63.39, followed by me at 61, followed by Big Lou at 60, and then Matt has about 58, and then Sam O at the bottom with just over 50. So that said, we can go through here, look at our picks this week. Sam Z has not put his in yet. Oh, no, not that one. This one. Let's see if I can get it nice and centered here. He's not put in his game picks yet, but he told us he will before
He's saving lives
tomorrow night. So he has more important things than this, which is very respectable. We would rather him do that. Jets and Browns Thursday night. Let's get it kicked off. I'm sure it's a sweep, and it is. Everyone's going Cleveland. Lions Cowboys. This one could draw controversy. 3 going Dallas. Matt going Detroit. Why do you feel the Lions will win this game?
There's something called the Monday Night Underdog. You know, it's a Saturday game, but it's a special Monday Night Football coverage. And
it was like 13. I did see that.
The last like 7 underdogs have pulled out a win. So I think Detroit's going to continue that trend. And why not go into Dallas and beat up on?
Truly not a Monday night.
But it's a Monday night broadcast. And I still like the biting knees of Dan Campbell to get it done. There's still a lot more to play for. There's an opportunity to really sink that 2 seed. And maybe even the 1 seed now that San Francisco has lost. So there's still a lot to play for Detroit in these last 2 games.
See, I think that the Dallas just has a too strong of an offense. Do you see the Vikings put up 400 yards, passing yards on them? I think that Dallas will be able to replicate that and just throw the ball all over them and just be able to beat them on the offensive side. I'm sure Lions will score, but I think the Detroit will be able to score more. Or excuse me, Dallas.
I legitimately buy into the stat that's like I saw it a couple weeks ago on TV. It's Dallas at home versus Dallas on the road. Dallas at home puts up like 40 points per game, and they're 7-0, I think. But on the road, they put up like 25 points per game, and they're significantly worse. And we saw they put up 20 this past week. They're back at home. They will win this game. I mean, honestly, okay, maybe this is a debatable take. Maybe it's not. I think the Cowboys are a better team than the Lions are. Just straight up. Maybe their offense, I would not say is better, but their defense significantly is, and their special teams is as well. Overall, the Cowboys are a better team than the Lions are right now.
We'll find out Saturday if that takes true or not.
We will. So that'll be a really good game.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Still can't believe the Vikings had Kenny Albert this week. I didn't want to listen to him.
Yeah.
They have Tirico this week. What are your guys' opinions on Tirico? He's okay. Mike Tirico.
He was fired from ESPN under, not great circumstances. I think but if you're looking at him as a broadcaster, he's fine. Chris Collinsworth. Oh, shoot. That could have been a prediction. Will he mention that one of the quarterback plays looked like Mahomes?
Add it. Make it a bonus prediction.
No.
It'd be funny.
I think he will, though. Let's keep moving real quick. We got a good one here. Panthers, Jags.
We got 3 going Jacksonville. Sam O's going Panthers. Sometimes he picks random teams because it's his only chance of catching up, even though it's just sinking him into.
I was honestly thinking about Carolina too, because Jacksonville has been skidding of late. The Panthers have a little bit of momentum because they have their best offensive game.
I credit that to Joe Barry.
And Trevor Lawrence is questionable. I know he's not missed an NFL start in his career to this point. He has a strained AC joint, I believe is what they called it. So even if he does play, he's going to be a little hampered. And if he doesn't play, it comes down to C.J. Beathard. So
C.J. Beathard, I haven't heard his name in like 3 years now.
Iowa legend C.J. Beathard. He's come in relief the past couple times. Trevor Lawrence has won out.
All right, we got the Falcons and the Bears. We got a split here. Me and Big Lou are going with the Bears. No, I read that wrong. Me and Sam O are going with the Falcons. Big Lou and Matt are going with the Bears. Thought about taking the Bears, but the Bears don't have any real motivation, even though they have actually been playing decent lately. But the Falcons still have a division on the line.
The motivation for Chicago can be the same as Detroit had last year going into Week 18 after only can be eliminated. We can eliminate someone from the playoffs if we win this game.
That's true.
And Atlanta, they had a nice win against the Colts. Can they bounce back, go on the road and beat Chicago? Who knows? I think Arthur Smith's a terrible head coach.
I wouldn't say that this in the Lions situation last year isn't the same though, because with the Lions, it was.
I understand it's not the same.
Okay,
I'm completely aware.
Just
that's
saying,
your division rival going into Lambeau Field, but just that opportunity to knock someone out.
I mean, that's what the Vikings pretty much are doing this week.
They have an opportunity to that and help bolster their opportunity of a playoff spot.
But yeah, it was like the NFL schedule makers pretty much gifted a present to the Packers last year with how they set it up, because in theory the Packers game should have been played at the same time as other games going on, but then the Lions were eliminated before the game even started, which technically shouldn't have happened, but it's because the NFL knew that they would get the most views if it was Lions and Packers on a Sunday night, and they got a really good game out of it. So not obviously, you just said that it's not the same, but I mean, the Falcons have something to play for. That division is still within reach. It's probably going to be the Bucs anyway. They're only, I think, a game behind. But I
look at Tampa,
think the Bucs hold a tiebreaker.
They have a game against the Saints, and then Week 18. I'm just looking ahead. They play the Panthers.
Every
the
NFC
Buccaneers
South game
just has to win out.
Every NFC South game could be won by any team because they're all bad. So
except the Panthers are eliminated.
Well, yeah.
Right.
But even the Panthers could still win.
I got something to add to this. I just looked up the playoff picture on the NFL.com, and the Vikings currently have a 29% chance of making playoffs. If they win, it's only a 50-50 shot at making the playoffs. If they lose, it's down to 5%.
Yeah,
they have to win both to have any shot.
If the Packers win, they have a 56% chance. If they lose, they have a 1% chance.
Go up a little bit. Look at the teams above them. I bet the Packers hold a tiebreaker over one. I wonder if the Packers, I don't think, played this.
Bucks have if they lose, 68% chance. Current is 86. If they win, greater than 99% chance. Here's the Bears. They currently have less than a 1% chance of making the playoffs. If they win, they have a 1% chance of making the playoffs. If they lose, they still have less than 1% chance of making the playoff.
If they lose, I think I'd eliminate them. But
they're technically not eliminated.
Here's why the Packers have higher odds than the Vikings, because they played the Rams this year. The Vikings haven't played the Seahawks or the Rams, but the Packers played the Rams and beat them, so they hold the tiebreaker, whereas the Vikings lose it. No, they don't. The Vikings hold the tiebreaker.
Vikings would hold a tiebreaker
because they have a better conference record.
Yeah,
I think. I'm pretty sure.
We also got to look at who the people above the Vikings play. The Bucs play the Saints, which they should win. The Rams play the Giants, which they should win. And the Seahawks play the Steelers, which is about a 50-50.
Yeah,
which would be the best chance for the Vikings to slip in, because Pittsburgh. We think Pittsburgh has a shot at beating Seattle.
Because we said it was Saints and Rams. So the Saints will probably lose this week. Or no, you said it was Rams, Seahawks.
No, Rams, Giants.
So let's look up who the Seahawks play next week then. So if the Seahawks beat the Steelers, they play the Cardinals, which they should be able to win that game.
So the Vikings are pretty much...
So the Vikings kind of need the Seahawks to lose to the Steelers. Or, let's look up the Rams schedule. So you said the Rams play the Giants, should be able to win. Then they play the Niners. But the Niners could have the 1 seed locked up this... No.
They
can't anymore.
They would still be fighting for the 1
I was going to say they can't anymore, but the Ravens
because
can lock
the
it up
Eagles
this week.
play the Cardinals, so that should be a win. And even if the Niners win this week, they're still going to be fighting for the 1 seed.
Because it was whoever won the Monday night game could lock up the number 1 seed in their conference with a win this week, and the Niners lost, so they can't. So no matter what, the Niners will be playing for something, so the Rams could still get kicked out that last week. This will be fun. But the Vikings need to win first. They need to win both games first. With that said,
we got Raiders, Colts right here. Quick one. We got 2 going Indy. We got 2 going Vegas. I think Vegas is just playing with a lot of they're playing for Antonio Pierce. I feel like this team is rallying behind him and want him to be the head coach. So they're going to play for him. They didn't do that with Josh McDaniels, and Indianapolis had a tough loss. I don't know if they can bounce back.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Raiders are just a better team since Josh McDaniels was fired. And I kind of griped earlier about how the Chiefs aren't that good anymore. But for you to go in to Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs on the road on Christmas, that does say something to me.
Also, Aiden O'Connell didn't even complete a pass second, third, fourth quarter. All 9 of his completions were in the first quarter. So
Really?
they won that game, handing the ball off to Zamir White and I think
Jacobs.
Brandon Bolden. Jacobs didn't play.
He didn't play. I don't think he
Didn't
played this
play.
week.
But yeah,
It's crazy considering he scored the most fantasy football points last year.
yeah. He was the rushing leader last year.
Yeah, crazy.
Big game here. Dolphins, Ravens. Ravens win. They clinch the 1 seed, I believe.
Yeah.
And we are all going Baltimore. They convinced me after Monday they're a legit threat, but the biggest thing is staying healthy. But even when they've lost guys like J.K. Dobbins, Keaton Mitchell steps up. Keaton Mitchell goes down. Well, now Justice Hill steps up, and Gus Edwards steps up. So it's really that next man up mentality, and they're all ready for their opportunity to shine.
So the Dolphins, I believe, they can win the AFC East with a win here, but a loss would. And then a Bills win this week. I forget who the Bills play. Who they play?
If the Bills
They play the
lose
Pats, so they should be able to win.
I mean, they're still in the playoffs.
Then it'll come down to week 18. They already clinched. Dolphins clinched a
Dolphins
playoff spot for
so
sure.
It's just
Bills
a matter
haven't yet.
of
But.
clinching home field for at least the wild card round.
But yeah, I took the Niners last week. The Niners they were my Super Bowl favorite. But then for the Ravens to go in and play a Super Bowl contender on the road in primetime, and they didn't even just beat them, they whooped them. That's saying something. The Ravens are a Super Bowl contender now in my book because of that game. That catapulted them.
Well, we all know it's going to be a Ravens-Niners based on the color scheme.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the NFL ain't hiding it
And
anymore.
we know the Niners can't win because the Vikings beat them.
what do
Kirk
you
Cousins
mean?
beat them.
The
So
purple's going to be Minnesota.
who's going to be the red then?
Bills, maybe?
The Cardinals.
I think the Bills.
Vikings,
Let's
Bills,
see,
that'd be such a fire Super Bowl.
Let's see.
Well, maybe not this year,
Could
but
be the Chiefs, the Bills, the Texans, or the Steelers.
I mean, yeah, the Texans are still in. It's a 3-way tie right now in the AFC South.
Dude, imagine a Bills-Vikings Super Bowl. I mean, this year it wouldn't be that good, but
Well, like
other years.
But I mean, like the fan base wise,
Well, yeah.
that would be the most committed Super Bowl you'd see out of a fan base.
Well, and it'd be both teams have lost 4 Super Bowls.
One team would finally win a Super
Yes.
Bowl.
If there's one team, as a Viking fan, I think I haven't thought about every team, but if the Vikings can't win the Super Bowl, if there's one team I want them to win, it would be Bills for the fans.
Yeah.
Honestly, Bills fans
Yeah.
deserve this.
Well, yeah, the Bills Mafia, they're shoveling their players' driveways to get them to the games
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's
Same with the Lions. I know they're a division rival, but I like the Lions. What?
No, I don't.
There's nothing not to like about them.
I like Dan Campbell.
Their fans have been put through misery over the past how many years now?
Currently, the Detroit Pistons are on a 27-game losing streak.
Hey.
There's not a lot to root for in
They had
Detroit
to-
besides the Lions.
they had to sacrifice the Pistons for the Lions to win an NFC championship.
Maybe. All right.
Yeah.
Saints, Buccaneers. Buccaneers can continue to win and take control of an AFC South that is weak. This game's going to be fun. Jacoby Brissett was the name of the starter for Washington. Doesn't matter. We're all going San Francisco. Titans, Texans. Texans still have a chance in the AFC South. We're all going Houston.
Hopefully Stroud's back. If Stroud's back,
Stroud-
that'll
I
help
think Stroud will
significantly.
be
He's been
back.
out 2 games now, so probably, but we'll see.
Rams, Giants. As Vikings fans, we're rooting for the Giants, but we all think the Rams are going to win. A lot of parity I'm seeing here. Patriots, Bills. Okay, we got one going New England, and I can tell you why. He wants to be different. He needs to catch up.
Bill Belichick needs to save his job, even though he's going to get fired anyway.
Yeah, Bailey Zappi did play well against Denver.
Not even Denver could save his job.
Cardinals, Eagles. I mean, it's Philly. We might as well just green that already. It'll be a close game though because Philly can't have anything nice this year, which I like. Steelers, Seahawks. This is a game Vikings fans should watch closely just because this is the best opportunity to slip back into the playoffs. We got 2 going Seattle. We got 2 going Pittsburgh. I mean, a Pittsburgh win would clinch them an above 500 season. So I think that's what they're going to be playing for. Still with a little bit of an outside shot at the playoffs. And Mason Rudolph looked really good last week.
I mean, this game is in Seattle, and right now the Seahawks obviously have a better chance of making the playoffs than the Steelers. And I mean, I just kind of like Seattle in this game. They're the better team.
And they're playing pretty good recently.
Who's the starting quarterback?
Geno
Steelers.
Smith.
No, for the Steelers though.
Mason Rudolph.
Oh, yeah, I
Rudolph
knew
was
that.
named the
I
starter
knew that.
last week, and he played well. George Pickens had a nice game. Jalen Warren had a nice block, proving his tweet saying that he would block for his teammates, unlike George Pickens.
Pickens cooked, and he was on Samsy's bench.
Yep.
I think wasn't Amari Cooper on someone's bench this week
Okay,
too?
well, you also got to think those guys weren't even in playoff contention in our league. So,
Well, yeah.
it's our subject. If anyone was curious, me and Joel are going to meet in the championship of that league.
It's a 2-week championship, by the way. So, yeah. We'll keep you posted.
That I don't.
In my family league, I beat my aunt, who was 11-3, to go to first place, and I was only like 9-7.
And a boy, Big Lou.
And I beat her by like 30 points.
He
too.
pulled the Detroit Lions against the Green Bay Packers.
I don't.
Look at this. I'll show you the matchup.
I don't think your aunt wants to return that Christmas gift she got you then.
She got me a crock pot.
Well, she wants it back. She wants. Actually,
Yeah.
no. She says you can keep it.
Because he's cooking.
Look at this.
Whose name is Pop Tarts?
That's my aunt.
Bruh, why?
The Pop-Tart Bowl, NC State, Kansas State, first edible
Nice.
mascot. Just a cool little tidbit I throw out there. All right, we got Chargers, we got Broncos. We were made aware Jarrett Stidham's been named the starter. Russell Wilson will go to the bench. So, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Three of us are going to go Chargers. One's going
Well,
Denver.
he might
Samo
change.
doesn't
Yeah.
know about this yet. He might change it. So
If any of these can
Could be-
change
it
as
could
long
be
as it's
a
before
sweep.
kickoff. It doesn't really matter.
get
I
ready
think I've
for
done it
Easton
before.
Stick and Jarrett Stidham, guys. I know we're all excited for that. Bengals, Chiefs, two teams kind of skidding. Bengals got embarrassed against Pittsburgh. We got 3 going KC. We got 1 going Cincinnati and trusting Jake Brown.
I'll be honest, I was not watching the Bengals game against Pittsburgh. I know they got whooped, but I mean, the Chiefs are.
Chiefs don't look good
They're-
right now.
I mean, yeah, but the Chiefs have been. I'm gonna say the Chiefs have been bad for like the past like pretty much 8 games now.
But if there's any,
The Bengals had one bad game.
who does KC play week 18? Because they don't really have a lot of time to tune up before playoffs start. They play the Chargers. Okay, so these are really 2 games that they can view as tune-up games to get better and get rid of all the drama within them.
This isn't even a tune-up game though, because like I mean the Bengals are. What's their record?
I mean, yeah, the Bengals are good, but if there's any,
they're still in playoff contention.
I mean, you're going to be playing a lot tougher teams, so you got to get better. That's
Well,
why
yeah.
I view it as a tune-up game. And last and not least, Packers Vikings. Who do we got?
Vikings. Well,
3 going Minnesota. Joel Hader.
Joel.
I'm surprised-
Vikings.
We're going back to the way things should be.
Okay, I'm surprised Sam O didn't go hater mode with me though. Usually we're on the same page with things,
I-
but
Wait, fair point. When he tends to,
when I pick against him, he always
yeah.
does too.
when he picks against the Vikings, they tend to win. So
This game just means so much for the Vikings in terms of the playoffs.
I was the only one that took Wait, was I the
You were
only
the
one?
only one.
No, Big Lou did too. He
I
took
took
him
the
last week
Vikings.
too, which was dumb. I don't know why I took the Vikings last week.
hey,
If-
they had a chance.
If Nick Mullins is the starter, it's going to be Green Bay. It's going to be Green Bay.
And while we're live, we have not
Guaranteed.
heard a word about who the starter is.
Yeah.
We can check real quick. But
We'll do a quick.
this game just
search.
means too much to Minnesota, and it's a home game Sunday night. I think it'll favor Minnesota. That's just me though.
Well, yeah. Last.
What was I
never
called?
mind,
Positive pessimist by Sam Z. So I'll stick by that.
No, we haven't really had
And
anything
no
new
word
today,
yet. And
so. Which is unfortunate. So those are our picks. Here's the games next week, just in case you guys want to look at it. All these game times are TBD right now. They will be announced on Sunday night following the conclusion of the Vikings game. So those are the matchups as far as when they happen. We don't know yet. Let's look at them and let's think about it.
I think Jaguars,
Browns, Bengals. That one could be a Saturday game if
Saturday
both teams are
game.
still in.
I think Jaguars.
Steelers, Ravens could be
That's
if
right. They
the
don't
Steelers are
release
still in
the
and
day
Ravens
of
are-
anything.
Not until Sunday night.
Bills, Dolphins could be a Sunday night game if the division is still on the line.
Yes. Falcon Saints. That'll probably be wrapped up.
Vikings,
anyway.
Lions might have an opportunity, but we'll find out.
They might be a 3 o'clock game, but
Vikings, Lions. Yeah. the Lions will probably be playing for something no matter what. They'll be going for seeding. So
Yeah.
And then the Vikings, well, the Vikings could be knocked out this week. We'll just have to
Yeah.
see. If the Vikings are knocked out, then I feel like this could be a noon game. But if the Vikings are still in, then it will probably be like a 3:00.
Yeah.
That's what I bet's going to happen here.
Makes
And then they have
sense.
2 Saturday games too. So
Vikings could. No, they wouldn't play on a Saturday. They're
No,
not.
They've
good
done.
enough game.
I mean, they've done
well, they
Saturday
put
games.
Raiders Chiefs on Saturday a couple years ago, and like the Raiders were already out, so it was just a weird game. I don't know why they did that one.
If the division was on the line, maybe it could have been a Saturday game or a Sunday night.
It was
game.
like the Chiefs clinch the number 1 seed with a win, but if the Raiders were already out, they just like to pick teams where they like to pick games where both teams have something on the line. So that's the schedule next week. Again, here's the schedule this week, and there's our prediction. Sam Z will have his in eventually, but he's busy saving people and helping the world. We'll go back up. Again, here is that. First place, like said, was Sam Z, followed by me, Big Lou, Matt, and then Sam O. That does it, I think, pretty much.
Yeah.
So we will do that, and then boom. That pretty much does it for this episode, unless anyone else has any last thoughts.
Nope.
I just saw that Aaron Gordon of the Nuggets is away from the team after suffering lacerations to his face and hand from dog bites. That is not good.
Hear about that.
The Twins did sign a bullpen depth player,
Who?
Josh Stalmont.
Okay, he's a little bit of a flamethrower.
Where's he from?
He was a Kansas City Royal.
Okay, I personally don't know him.
I mean, it's not Josh Hader, but it's something the Twins can afford.
Yeah. So that pretty much does it for this one. We will see you guys maybe Sunday, maybe Monday, not maybe, for sure Wednesday, but we will let you know. We will see you guys. Going to be a good game on Sunday night. With that, have a good night. Peace out. Where was Niner Gang? Niner Gang should have pulled up. We missed him. Where were you at, Niner Gang? We missed you. Either way, have a good night, everybody. Peace out. And as always, SKOL Vikings. I think I said that wrong. That didn't sound right, but whatever. Whatever. Usually I have like the same order, but whatever. All right, SKOL Vikings. See you guys next week sometime.